Once you find yourself in conflict with a narcissist, it's a virtual guarantee they're going to start playing head games with you. That's why I put together a new course. It's very extensive called Anger Games. I'm going to teach you how to manage anger and conflict with a narcissist. There's a link below that's going to show you how to register, and I hope that you find it to be very insightful. There's a phrase that I have heard from individuals countless times. I don't even know how many we could say. When they look back upon their lives and they can see that they've been through some strain and difficulty, relationships have fallen apart, or life has taken quite a few twists and turns, the phrase that so many people will use is, "If I only knew then what I know now." How many times have you thought that to yourself? You know, there are so many times when people, as they get older, they look back upon their family of origin, and they may have known there were some things that were there that were just not all that good. But time can allow you to develop some wisdom if you can let it be that way, and you can think, wow, there were some things in my family of origin that were just terribly unhealthy. And the more you examine it, the more you realize, and yet it exacted a toll upon me. Or it could be that you got involved in relationships and over time you felt defrauded or deceived, and these individuals turned out to be somebody that they purported to be one way, but they turned out to be somebody entirely different. Or you were with groups of individuals and systems, and those systems and those groups turned out to be very toxic and unhealthy. And you look back and you think, I wish that I had known so many things different. Now, one of the things that I used to tell patients in my office is your best thinking in life doesn't even begin until you hit 40 or so. You've got a couple of decades of adulting, if you will, and many experiences come along the way. And every decade of your life that you live, certain insights hopefully will become clear to you, and you learn more and more. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to just kind of take that notion that says, if I only knew then what I know now, and I'd like to share some thoughts with you that I would like to explain to your 20-year-old self. You know, if we could go back, and when I say 20-year-old self, that's when you're beginning the adult period of time. That 18 to 24 is the time where you're stepping away from your earlier patterns, and hopefully you're developing your own new independence. What would you like to say to that person back then that might help them along the way? Let's take a look at some thoughts. One of the first things that I would like to say to my own 20-year-old self is, no matter how nice or accomplished another person is, keep in mind that each person in front of you has selfish desires. Each person in front of you has controlling desires. And you're going to be able to learn a lot about a person's maturity as you watch how they come to terms with their selfishness and their controlling nature. Those of us who are healthy can say, you know what? I see it. I own it, and I realize that's something I can't afford to allow to run away with me, and they learn to curtail it. Narcissists have this ongoing selfishness and their control agenda, and they never let go of it. And over time, you begin realizing they keep going back to their favorite topic, me, me, me. That's a red flag, and you need to be able to watch for that. Another thing that I would want to say to that 20-year-old self is life is best lived when you learn to see beyond your own self. In other words, you're not on an island all by yourself. Conscientiousness is a very healthy characteristic for you to maintain. Narcissists have not developed conscientiousness. They don't have empathy, and you'll notice that as you get to know people, some folks can step into your emotions and your perceptions with you very comfortably. Other times it's like, no, they're not that interested in knowing who you are. It's all about me and self-advancement. And that's something that later on you can see, yeah, it was there quite a bit. Another thing that I would say to that 20-year-old self is pay very careful attention to your own family's pluses and minuses. One of the things that we can say is that in the healthy way of life, we can examine where we came from, and we can do some pruning. It doesn't mean that you have to be hypercritical, but you can be discerning, and you can see that my family might have emphasized this, and I want to do this instead, or I want to take certain inclinations that they have and eliminate those and replace them with things that are more helpful and beneficial. Narcissists don't do that kind of pruning. What they do is they'll take what's in their family of origin and just perpetuate it. Now, they may change the form of how they do it, but they don't learn. They don't grow. They just keep taking on some of the things that were done to them, and it's like, okay, it's my turn. Now I'm going to keep doing the same thing that I didn't like that was done to me. In addition, another thing that you would want to say to that 20-year-old, and that is, listen to the meaning of your emotions. Now, another thing you're going to notice about narcissists is they don't examine their emotions very well. And we can be talking about what makes you happy, or what makes you fearful, or what makes you feel guilty, what makes you feel angry, etc. And you want to, rather than just experiencing the emotions and then there's no particular analysis that goes along with it, you might want to just pull back and ask, why do I feel those things? What does that tell me about me? And how can I learn how to be a more balanced individual as I learn to contain those emotions? With narcissists, you'll notice that they have a lot of unchecked emotions. They just run with them, and they don't really slow down long enough to ask, what's the meaning of that lack of analytical thinking? It's what I refer to as their subjectivity overrides their objectivity in that realm. Now, another thing that we want to say to that 20-year-old, and that is, make sure that you trade pretenses for honesty. One of the largest elements that tells us that we've got a narcissistic person in front of us is somebody that's just committed to phoniness. There are so many individuals who just want to give the right appearance, and they won't go into an honest acknowledgement of who they are and what they need. They just want to make you think, well, I'm the gold standard. I'm the one who does things right. And they don't take input about themselves because they're not honest enough to say, I need to grow. I need to make mature. In their mind, it's like, well, if I could just go ahead and present myself as, somebody who's already arrived, I win. That's how they think. In addition, one of the things that I would want to say to that 20-year-old self is moderate your need or your craving for acceptance or approval. It's nice when individuals accept you and approve you, so I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, but you don't want to make that a centerpiece in the way that you engage with individuals. One of the things we know about narcissists is they're hungry, and that's not even a strong enough word. They're starving for affirmation, admiration, and they want narcissistic supply is what we refer to it as. And as a result, it's like feed me, feed me, feed me. And you'll notice that there are some individuals that you just can't seem to satisfy because you're never enough. That's their neediness that they have. Now, in addition, and this one's huge, and that is, watch how individuals manage conflicts. Now, it can be something that's very large, a big conflict that they have, or it could be minor, petty kinds of things and all sorts of things on the in between. You'll notice the most about a person's maturity level by examining how they manage conflicts. And when you have somebody that's prone to exploding or a lot of agitation or irritability, we go back to the part about them not examining their emotions. It's like, my anger, my irritability, my annoyance is just unchecked, and it just comes out. Sometimes it comes out in loud, raucous ways. Sometimes it's passive-aggressive punishment. But in conflict, narcissists are going to be very disturbed in the way that they engage with differences. Now, in addition, watch how other individuals treat people who are in a naturally subordinate position. For example, if you're at a dining place, how they treat the waiting staff, or at a store, or in work settings, how they treat those who are at the beginner or the lower rungs. And then, in addition, watch how other individuals will treat people who are the beautiful people, or those who are very accomplished. Narcissists are going to suck up to them. It's like, well, I've got to really impress them. You'll notice that narcissists don't have this egalitarian approach. We're all different, but we all have an equal need for goodness and decency. They like being in the exclusive clubs, and they like to be above other individuals. In addition, Notice when you're communicating how easily narcissists other individuals will engage in one-up communication. I mean, it can be something as simple as, hey, I had a really nice dinner at this restaurant, and they'll say, well, let me tell you what the best restaurant is. Or it might be that you'll say something about something good that happened to you in the day, and they'll say, oh yeah, that happened to me last week. And they tend to want to one-up. They give it the unsolicited advice. They just tell you what to do, and it's all about them. And again, it's them needing to be in the superior position. That's where narcissists go. And then, in addition, we're going to say to that 20-year-old self, remember, you're a free person. Narcissists don't want you to be a free person, but you still are a free person. Narcissists want to keep you inside a tight agenda. They want to keep you in their cage. And then when you say, well, I'd like to think this way or do this way or act like that, it's like, no, I have better ideas. And they're very threatened by your independence. And when you see that, that's an enormous red flag. So, and I could say so many other things to that 20-year-old person, but I think you get the idea that there's much to be examined in a person's life. You know, the unexamined life is the one that's just doomed to perpetuate all sorts of strain and difficulties. Let's keep in mind, saying to that 20-year-old person, narcissists are not very deep, and as you go along, you're going to see that they don't have well-conceived ideas. They're closed-minded. They're disinterested in psychological growth. Instead, they seek people who are just going to be utile to them. That's it. And then when they're required to navigate differences, it's like they're empty from the inside out. So, like I say, you can't go back and change the past. And wouldn't it be nice if you could take yourself back to that 20-year-old self and say, well, I'm going to do things a lot differently? Well, it's impossible. What you can do is you can say, well, I'm going to take my adult experiences and I'm going to examine myself carefully, and I'm going to observe other individuals. I'm a lifelong learner. And even though I may have had some strains and difficulties along the way, I'm capable of recalibrating constantly, and I'm capable of adjusting along the way. We have a word for that. It's called maturation. Narcissists are stuck in their pre-adolescent thinking. They don't even get to the place to where that 20-year-old person can think things through. They're in more of a childlike state. Keep that in mind, but in the meantime, stay committed to your own growth. Now, the videos like this can give you some good food for thought. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please do so. We're going to keep more coming your way. Sometimes when you watch videos like this, it can trigger you and can make you think, oh, I've got so much that I need to unfold. And, I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com, and they have a whole team of licensed professional therapists, and that's what they help you do. Unfold who you are and help you figure out some of the trends and patterns that you wish that you had known way back then, but you need to make adjustments. It may be that you're one of those younger people and you want to say, well, I'm at the early stages of my life and I need to go ahead and get my groundwork done in an earlier time. But if the need for help is there, please go to the link that we have below and seek the help that would be so beneficial for you. In addition, I put together many courses, several courses. It's my way of saying, taking my experiences and trying to give some teaching to you. Each course is very extensive. There's at least 25 teaching videos per course, and then along with the videos, there's heavy documentation and handouts that go with it and guided questions. We have anger games, and that's my newest one. It's about not getting sucked into the anger that the narcissists want to pull you into. This is me, about establishing boundaries, free to be, Ready, Set, Connect, and those are the courses there. They're on my website. Also, we have my webinars, which are 90-minute presentations, very different kind of thing, along with my articles, access to my podcast, my books, etc. Wouldn't it be nice if you could say, if I knew then what I know now, things would have been a lot different, and you'd like to go back to your 20-year-old self and say, let's do a do-over? You can't do that, but what you can do is you can stay committed to your own growth. And I'm one of these that says if you have pain, if you've had difficulty and strain, then let's take that and ask, what's that trying to tell me? And how can I learn despite the fact that certain patterns weren't fully in place in my earlier way of life? And we can put those patterns into place now. And in doing so, it can allow you still to have a sense of steadiness, and ultimately you can find your place of peace.